It's Dr. Tony, and I am here to round out our series on toxic folks, toxic jobs. We have been on a roll, and this one is a little touchy. I'm just going to tell you, it's like an NC-17 rating because it's one of those taboo topics that if I don't get in there with you, who will, right? We will just ignore all the telltale signs. So I'm a physician, so people tell me all kind of sensitive information, but I'm also a coach who doesn't let you run from the truth. And if you want to change your life, which is why people come to me, right? They didn't invest all this time and money into a program with me so that they can just throw it all away or get talked out of it by these toxic people in their life. Toxic people don't want you to change because they are winning while you let them run all over things, okay? And they are the victim. Have you noticed? They are the victim all the time. They are never responsible for anything. So let's talk about how you could come to me, change your entire life, but if you don't start getting good at noticing these patterns of their behavior, you're going to have a really difficult time enjoying the fruits of your labor. Does that make sense? They see you a mile away, you're a good person, you're kind-hearted, you're giving, you do everything in your power to help your neighbor, but because that's the way you move, you have to be particularly wary of those around you. So let's talk about how they show up in your life. Number one, let's just start with gaslighting. Honey, they are always trying to make you question whether what you think about them is true. I saw this quote: some people play victims of crimes that they committed. They're acting all like, oh, what are you talking about? They're denying everything. They're telling you that what you said or saw isn't true. They're blaming you for things that they caused. And another sign that they're being themselves, toxic number one, they will say to you, I'm sorry you feel that way. They won't say, I apologize for what I did to you, or I apologize. They're not sorry. They don't like to get caught, and they don't like to own up to their mistakes. So I'm just going to warn you now, trying to get into these back and forth conversations with these types of people is fruitless. The big problem is a lot of time is the parent or a elder in the family. And when that happens, it's really difficult. Okay. Just warning you. It just is. But it also could be your boss. It also could be coworkers, right? So when these types of people, when you identify them, when you realize what the heck they're up to, it's a really difficult, slippery slope to get involved and have conversations with them because they're tricky and slippery. Okay. Number two, they're very disrespectful or sarcastic. One one thing you'll hear them say, must be nice. Nice. I work my tail off to get where I am, but envious and compare. That's number three. And feel some type of way, but when you were struggling, when you were making all kind of sacrifices to get where you are today, they were nowhere to be found. They're driving their new car and, you know, talking all this smack, but real talk, now that you're where you want to be or getting a whole lot closer, all of a sudden they have a problem with it. Okay. So they have little snide remarks and comments. Let me know if you know what I'm talking about here, right? So which one? So what do we cover already? There are kind of people who are gaslighting you. They'll manipulate the conversation and they're the victim all the time. They are disrespectful, sarcastic, and insulting. But they oftentimes are saying things like, oh, look at you. Yes, look at me. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. What about you? Right. And the way they speak about other people is definitely not, it's a different perception. They project a lot of their insecurities and negative thinking onto other people. So don't be surprised if y'all are not on the same page. Don't be surprised if you can be in the same exact room witnessing the same exact thing, but what comes out their mouth as far as their interpretation is absolutely night and day. Okay. Sometimes it's subtle. They make you feel bad about yourself. So they make you question whether or not what you're doing is the right thing, because it's not what they would do. It's not what they would think. And so therefore everybody should be just like them, right? This is very hard when it's someone you love, because you decided to revolutionize your world, change your life, go back to school, build something from scratch, maybe travel. There's a lot of things that make you who you are, and they make you not want to have any conversations about what's really going on with you, because they're either attacking you or criticizing. So, you know, just know it comes from a place of their pain or their lack or loss. Don't feel like it's something personal, okay? But they will make you feel like everything you do is never enough. I've seen this a lot in the world of comedy. They're always making jokes, but really it's funny because it's true. The mother-in-law that comes and wipes her finger across everything, when she comes to your house, and, oh, wow, you guys sure do, blah, blah, blah around here. You get up awfully early around here. Wow, you don't have time with your career to clean up and cook, and just it's not even subtle, right? But some people, that's the norm. And if you come from a background where you were raised in this sort of environment, you're walking on eggshells. You're always trying to keep the peace and avoid the back and forth that happens with these types of folks. But really, you can never appease them. They're never satisfied. They're never shoot, good luck getting any positive feedback. And so after a while, you probably just kind of minimize the interaction. And that's difficult when you're someone who's outgoing, you're friendly, you really like to interact with other people. If you're an extrovert, this sort of thing is very difficult. But just remember that it's not you, it's them. Finances. Let's talk about financial. A lot of times their failings become your problem, or they try to make it your problem. So they don't want to budget their money, and now that you make more, they automatically start inserting what you need to do for them. You can, oh, now you can buy me this, or now you can take me here, now you can pay for those tickets to Beyonce. I say that because they're spending your money, they're in your pocket, but they criticize you at the same time. Well, which one is it? Are we friends? Are we, in a positive interaction here? Or are you just somebody who thinks that I owe you one? That's not cool when people don't make you feel like you're doing it out of the kindness of your own heart, but they give you a list of what you could be doing for other people. That's just not cool. So the energy in the room is heavy. You feel weighed down, and you feel a little guilty too, because maybe this is someone who's done a lot for you. Maybe this is someone who sacrificed to get you where you are today. Maybe at one point, this is a dynamic that I want to mention because it's happened to the best of us. When you were down, or when you weren't where you wanted to be, these types of people are all in your face there, because they felt good about you being down there. They felt good when you didn't have it to give, when you didn't have confidence, or you weren't sure of yourself, or you were still trying to find your way. But the minute you get your confidence up, or your money up, or you finally start to have visual evidence that things are going well for you, now suddenly there's a problem with everything. Here comes the snide remarks and offhand, backhanded compliments, and so on. So it's not in your head if you realize that it wasn't always this way. Sometimes the power dynamic shifts, and they're not too thrilled with the fact that you aren't looking for their approval, and you might have proven them wrong. They may have said some, oh, you're never going to make it kind of stuff to you, or you'll never have that relationship, or you'll never get there. You'll never get that job. Or why is it such a big deal? So then you get it and they're like, that's not a big deal. A minute ago they said you weren't good enough for it, and now it's a no good job. So don't be surprised if people who used to be all good aren't when you decide to rise in the world. I mention it because unfortunately we don't talk about it enough, and so it can be very lonely. as you are trying to grow. And this is why I started so many communities, because if you don't have other people on the same journey with you who are really killing it out here, women especially in male dominated fields struggle with this. If you don't have people who are cheering you on, excited about your raise, excited about your new projects, just positive people around you, if you don't have that circle around you, especially in those vulnerable spaces where you really don't want to be under the microscope, or you don't really want people to scrutinize you, it's difficult. So if we can help you, surround you with the positive folks and the positive next steps that need to be taken, even these difficult conversations, um, it's going to support your growth and you'll get there a lot faster. All right. So I will catch up with you guys soon. Don't be surprised if you feel like you should hope for change. Just don't expect it. These sorts of people don't plan on changing last time I checked. And if you wait around for it, what happens? You get disillusioned and stressed out with people who you can't be quiet enough or low key enough for them, because they've decided, whether you like it or not, that they're going to be difficult. So do us all a favor and start to write it down. Like literally, if you have a journal, if you have a notebook, this is a good one to write down and really evaluate in the people in your life, because I hate to say it, but a lot of times the people who are closest to you are the ones that can hurt you the most. Sometimes it's good to go to therapy to figure some of this out. And obviously, if you want to get with me, I help people out of these situations all the time. You don't always know how much it's bringing you down to not have support and also not necessarily know exactly what to do next. I've had mentors who were this envious person who are like, well, how did you figure that out without me? That happened to me when I was an undergrad. The head of the department at the time, that's what she said to me. She's like, well, how did you get that, Ivy League, fellowship without me? Those were her words. Wow. I mean, what kind of toxic person are you? So it's just interesting where those people come from. It can be at your church, it can be in your nonprofit org, it could be at work, it could be in your friend circle. Please, please do not think there's it could be a parent. Don't think that anyone is immune to being toxic, especially if you are on the rise. So have a great day. Sorry to give you this bad news. And if they are this way, you may have already noticed that it doesn't get better just because you try to look the other way. You know what I mean? Because you're still fabulous and shiny in the dark, and they're going to always double down. Okay. If you have a topic you want me to cover, let me know. But I am going to talk next. At this rate, I'm going to be talking next about, some of the things that take shape when you start making your moves. And these people start acting up. That's one hint. Okay. These people start acting up. It's Dr. Tony, your board certified physician, certified executive coach, and I am here to help you build a life you actually love that, hey, may make some people pissed off, and that's all right. You're going to live unapologetically, and this is what you built. This is what you deserve, and it's about time you start feeling good about yourself and what you have already achieved, and there's no reason for you to downplay where you're headed next. Talk soon.